Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. This is Abdul Salam, Assistant Professor in Accounting, Department of Business Administration, Asian University of Bangladesh. Now I discuss taxation in Bangladesh, course code BBA 2603. Today I discuss what is the income of a resident in a country like Bangladesh. Why I said in Bangladesh? Because we live in the Bangladesh, and when we live in the different countries, we use the different type of the taxation systems in the world. Different countries, different approach of the taxation systems. So when we live in Bangladesh, when we are the student in the business department in Bangladesh, then obviously we need to be a know what is the income in a Bangladeshi resident and who are living in the Bangladesh or who are living the abroad but who are using the different countries passport. But obviously he or she must be use the Bangladeshi passport, Bangladeshi resident or Bangladeshi non-resident or Bangladeshi resident but live in the foreign. So when it goes to be a discussion about the income of a resident in Bangladesh, then obviously we are segment to segment we discuss. Now we are only wants to be discuss a income definition of income. Then what is the source of income or what is the type of income we are discussing the next part. Now simply, I said that income means what comes in. That means which amount of money earned by a resident who are live in a country or abroad. But such a definition is not a precise or exhaustive. In a broad sense, it connotes a periodical monetary return coming in with some sort of regularity or expected regularity from the definite sources. The sources need not necessarily be on not necessarily be on which is expected to be continuously productive, but it must be one whose nature is the production of a definite return, excluding anything in the nature of windfall. So, from the definition, we are easily said that income means coming some sort of money is regular basis, obviously a definite source or obviously a right source. It is not an illegal source. Did not say that this is the income. If it is income, then obviously it is a income from right source and a definite source or a expected regularity maintained from the sources. So definition of the income as per Income Tax Ordinance 1984. In our country, at first prepared the rules and regulations for the income tax or create an income tax ordinance in 1984 as defined under section 234. Under section 234 of Income Tax Ordinance 1984, the term income means and includes the following: any income, any income, profit or gains from whatever source is derived which are chargeable to the tax under the heads or specified in the section 20. These are salaries, interest on securities, income from the house property, agricultural income, income from the business profession, capital gains, or income from the other sources. This is the section 234 and under section A. And then B, any loss of such income, profit or gains. Number C, the profit and gains of any business of insurance carried on by the mutual insurance association. Number 4, any sum of deemed to be income accruing or arising over the receipt deemed to be acquired to the arise or received in Bangladesh, but it does not include any bonus declared on shares by the Bangladeshi company to increase its paid up the share capital. Then income deemed to accrue or arise in Bangladesh means and include the following under section 18. So from the definition, we can say easily income means different sources of income, like as salaries, interest on securities, ইনকাম ফ্রম দ্য হাউস প্রপার্টি, আমাদের যদি কোনো কৃষি খামার থাকে, আমাদের যদি কোনো বিজনেস থাকে, আমাদের যদি হচ্ছে যে কি কোনো একটা স্থায়ী সম্পত্তি বিক্রি করি, অথবা আমরা আরো বিভিন্ন রকম সোর্স থেকে আমাদের কি হতে পারে, ইনকাম হতে পারে। বিভিন্ন রকম সোর্সগুলির মধ্যে যেমন বলা হচ্ছে যে কি তুমি হচ্ছে কি কোনো একটা বিজনেস করছো, সেখান থেকে তোমার ইনকাম হয়েছে, প্রফিট গেইন হয়েছে, সেটা হতে পারে। তুমি ইন্স্যুরেন্স কোম্পানিতে কি করেছো, টাকা জমা রেখেছো, সেখান থেকে তোমার হচ্ছে যে কি টাকা পেয়েছো। তুমি এরকম হতে পারে তুমি হচ্ছে যে কি প্রত্যাশা করছো যে হচ্ছে কি তুমি একটা জায়গায় ইনভেস্ট করেছো এবং সেখানে হচ্ছে কি হবে অ্যারাইজ হতে পারে, আফটার দ্য পিরিয়ড ইউ গট দ্য dividend or any kinds of the profit from the sources. So this is the income obviously. Also the under section 18 given that it is earned in Bangladesh or paid the government or local authorities in Bangladesh to citizen of Bangladesh for his services. যদি কোনো বাংলাদেশি মানুষ সে চাকরি করে এবং তার চাকরি শেষে যদি সে কি পায়, টাকা পায়, বা চাকরি করা অবস্থায় যদি সে টাকা পায়, তাহলে সেটাও কি ইনকাম হবে। নাম্বার 2 তে বলছে কি ডাইরেক্ট অর ইনডাইরেক্ট ইনকাম ফ্রম এনি বিজনেস। আন্ডার সেকশন 18 এ বলছে কি যদি সে বিজনেস করে বাংলাদেশে তাহলে তোমাকে ট্যাক্স দিতে হবে। যদি তোমার প্রপার্টি থাকে, অ্যাসেটস থাকে, রাইটস অর আদার সোর্সেস অফ ইনকাম ইন বাংলাদেশ, যে কোনো সোর্স থেকে তুমি ইনকাম করো তাহলে তোমাকে দিতে হবে, সেটা অবশ্যই রাইট ওয়ে হতে হবে। অ্যান্ড দেন মোস্ট হচ্ছে যে কি ট্রান্সফার অফ এ ক্যাপিটাল অ্যাসেটস ইন বাংলাদেশ, কিন্তু আমি যদি বাংলাদেশ থেকে কোনো ক্যাপিটাল অ্যাসেট ট্রান্সফার করি তাহলে আমাকে কি করতে হবে, ট্যাক্স দিতে হবে। অ্যান্ড দ্য নাম্বার 3, any dividend paid outside Bangladesh by the Bangladeshi company, যদি বাংলাদেশি কোম্পানি বাংলাদেশের বাইরে থেকে কি করে আমাকে ডিভিডেন্ড পে করে তাহলে আমাকে কি করতে হবে, ট্যাক্স দিতে হবে। নাম্বার 4, any interest or fees or technical service or royalty payable by the government or resident person in Bangladesh or non-resident person in Bangladesh, বলছে যে আমি যদি কোনো টেকনিক্যাল লোক হই, আমার যদি সেটা কোনো চার্জ থাকে, সেটা বাংলাদেশ থেকে হতে পারে, অথবা সেটা বিদেশ থেকে হতে পারে, অথবা সেটা যে কোনো জায়গা থেকে, যে কোনো জায়গা থেকে আমাদের যদি সেই ফিসটা আসে তাহলে সেটা আমাকে কি করতে হবে, ট্যাক্স দিতে হবে। So from the definition, we are easily find out some sort of characteristics of the income. ইনকামের কতগুলো কি থাকবে, বৈশিষ্ট্য থাকবে। এক নাম্বার বৈশিষ্ট্য হচ্ছে কি that the first characteristics is the revenue receipt. Income means I mean the revenue receipt. Such receipt is easily to produce a capital. The income has been linked pictorially to the fruits of a tree or the crop of field. Number B, recurrent in the nature in general. So income should necessarily be the recurrent return from the definite source, so though it may not always be of that nature. সাধারণত হচ্ছে কি যদি ইনকাম হয় তাহলে সেটা অবশ্যই কি হবে, আমাদেরকে সেটা রিকারেন্ট রিটার্ন আসবে আমাদের কাছে। And then number 3, money or monies. 4, so this is the another characteristics of the income. Income must be in the form of money or money source. It may be received in the form of cash or kind. So external sources income is must be the different arising in the arise or create in the different sources. So one is the external sources. You see, the sources of income must not be recipient, as nobody can trade with himself or make a profit by the dealing with the himself. Thus, the source must be external. Number E, definite source. The source of income need to be a definite. So the windfall income is not an income. However, in Income Tax Act, there is expectation to that rules. And the number F, irrelevance of the pending dispute. Actual receipt, no bar, illegality, and then nature of sources. All of these are the most important characteristics of the income under the Income Tax Ordinance 1984 under Section 234. And then I would like to discuss about distinguishing test of capital and revenue expenditure. In our daily life, we make some sort of transactions. We make some sort of expenditure. We make some sort of income generating activities. So each and everywhere it has a expenditure. Expenditure are classified into two types. One is the revenue expenditure, another one is the capital expenditure. Here, some sort of distinguish are given below. Fixed and the circulating capital. Expenditure incurred to acquire or install a fixed asset which is produced or aids in the production is a capital expenditure. On the other hand, on the other hand, if the expenditure incurred is for the purchase of goods meant for resale, is revenue expenditure. It's very easy. So whose expenditure we are only acquiring the fixed assets or long-term assets or investment, then that is called a capital expenditure. On the other hand, when we meet up our regular activities, when we are expenses for our daily expenditure, then that is called a revenue expenditure. Like as to purchase the goods for resale, or he paid the electric bill, or paid the mobile bill, or paid the conveyance, or paid the entertainment bills, then that is called a revenue expenditure. Then purpose of the expenditure. Expenditure incurred for the purpose of the securing capital is a capital expenditure, while the expenditure incurred for the rewarding such capital is revenue expenditure. For example, underwriting the commission for the issue of shares and debenture is called capital expenditure, but dividend or interest paid for such capital or loan is a revenue expenditure. And then number three, distinguishing number three, nature of the liability of the teacher. The payment made by an assessee to free him from a capital liability is a capital expenditure. On the other hand, a payment made by the assessee to free him from the liability to make an annual revenue payment is the revenue expenditure. Nature of expenditure. So expenditure incurred for the expansion or addition to the fixed assets is called the capital expenditure, while expenditure incurred of the remuneration of the assets or for repairing the same revenue expenditure. That is called a revenue expenditure. Then development or replacement expenditure. Expenditure incurred for development of the status of the fixed assets is called the capital expenditure, while expenditures incurred to keep the assets and workable and not replacing the original out, then it is the revenue expenditure. There is a very simple example here said that only when we অ্যাকুয়ারিং দ্য ফিক্সড অ্যাসেটস, যদি আমরা কোনো সম্পদ কিনি, ক্রয় মূল্য, এই ক্রয় মূল্যটার নাম হচ্ছে কি ক্যাপিটাল এক্সপেন্ডিচার। অন দ্য আদার হ্যান্ড, if we are just maintain the assets, then that is called a capital revenue expenditure. So from the discussion, we are knows that what do we mean by the income in a resident in a country, and what are the types of the income, or different sources of income, and what is the characteristics of the income. So thank you so much everyone for quite patience for listening my lecture. Thanks all of you.